Hey, morning everybody. It's February the 1st, 2020. Hope everybody's having a good year. It's been a while since I've posted any videos, but checked out some YouTube guidelines and whatnot and kind of decided to keep doing videos. So anyway, here's another edition of What's in the Shop, and I wanted to go over some things that I've covered in the past and maybe some new things that people haven't really seen. First off, my Shogun Warriors. I got them all finished finally. Shout out to Derek at Shogun Plastics and Faux Shogun for doing the decals. I was able to basically get all these guys refurbished, brand new parts, some reproduction and some vintage I got off eBay. The first guy, Dragoon, I wasn't able to restore him completely yet. I'm still looking for his shooting star mechanism that goes on his hand there. It's pretty hard to find. That's like one of the hardest things I've probably ever tried to find. He does have axes. I haven't got those yet, but you can buy those on eBay from Shogun Plastics. Next up, we've got Brave Ray Dean. He's a third edition, doesn't have the shoulder pauldrons, so he's been simplified a little bit. I was able to find a reproduction, or not a reproduction, I'm sorry, a vintage shooting fist array for his arm. I did buy that. It cost a little bit of coin, but I sold some G.I. Joe stuff to kind of offset it. I did have Shogun Plastics make me a new bow fist. I just decided to get a bow fist for him in case I wanted to change fists out. And this is pretty cool. This is a reproduction. It's really high quality. Shogun Plastics, if you're not familiar with them, he does a lot of really cool reproduction stuff. Missiles, fists, a lot of things you can complete your Shogun Warriors with. Last is my third edition Mazinga, or Great Mazinga. I have a first edition. I think I've covered him on one of my videos, maybe not. But I got all the missiles for him, and he actually still shoots, and he's in great shape. He had a lot of the original parts with him, like the swords that go on his sides. Those both came with him when I bought him. So I have these Shogun Warriors pretty much complete. Plan on storing them and letting my son play with them when he gets old enough to not shoot his eye out. So let's hope that doesn't happen. This was actually a really fun project. I enjoyed doing it. I really never got into Shogun Warriors as a kid. I think they were kind of the late 70s, and I was in that weird age where I wasn't really old enough to play with them. And by the time I was old enough to play with them, they were basically out of production in the United States. So I got stuck with G.I. Joe, Real American Hero, Masters of the Universe, and some Transformers, and some of the other cool toys of the 80s. But these were something I just recently got into. I found these on Craigslist. I got all three of them for a really good price from a guy, and I decided to restore them. So really excited to have them. They're almost addictive when you first start collecting these. You want to get them all, but they're actually really expensive and highly collectible, and I doubt I will get any more. So these are my Shogun Warriors I have restored. Next up, a little update on my G.I. Joe Flying Space Adventure set. I think I told everybody I found the flight pack on Facebook for sale groups. Well, I actually managed to procure the top to that. So this cost a little bit of money. I'm not going to lie to you. The guy kind of haggled back and forth, and I just finally said, heck with it. I want to complete this thing, so I went ahead and bought it. I sold some other G.I. Joe stuff I had, vintage stuff. I got a ton of it and kind of offset the price. It's kind of what I tend to do. But this is a pretty cool set. I still need to clean this up quite a bit. But I have a complete Flying Space Adventure pack now, which is nice because I almost have the full set. I found reproduction parts for a few of the other items that came with the set, but dang, they're expensive. I mean, I understand it costs a little bit to have things professionally made, but holy smokes, they're about the same price as trying to find like a vintage piece. And it just doesn't make sense to me. But, it's all about supply and demand, so I'm not going to hate on it too much. So anyway, that's basically done. Just got to clean it up and kind of put it back together. Next, I wanted to go over a project that I do every so often when I get bored. I buy a lot of G.I. Joe, or used to buy a lot of G.I. Joe lots in auction and whatnot. And I think everybody realizes that every time you buy a G.I. Joe lot, you get broken guns. And that's true. I mean, you're always going to find guns, but they're always broken, like the barrels are broken off, and they're always missing pieces. Well, I took some old knockoff G.I. Joe guns, and I decided to cast the ends of barrels in silicone, and I've been doing this for about 2 years now. I just make reproduction ends of the barrels. Here's one right here, and I just reattach them to the guns, and sometimes if the trigger guards are missing, I just build new trigger guards out of styrene. Obviously, this is not finished painting, but this is an M1 Grand I restored. I restore a lot of these, and I just put them on lots and sell them on eBay for a pretty reasonable price, considering the time that it takes me to put those together and do all the pieces and whatnot. Here's a M1 carbine that I've done, brand new end. Just casted it, pinned and glued it to the end, and it turned out really nice. I've been doing a lot of paint matching, using metallic silver with a little bit of blue to kind of match that old Hasbro look. Here's another one that I did. The end is, again, replacement. I got a nice sling off eBay for it. But yeah, these are cool. I enjoy restoring these guns and selling them on eBay for people. Here's one I'm working on right now. I just haven't got the new end cast for it, but I believe I put a brand new end on that one. This is another M1 Grand I'm working on. I'll build a new trigger guard for it, put a brand new end on it, give it a fresh coat of paint, probably put a sling on it, clean it up. But these are projects I kind of just do in my spare time when I don't have anything else going on, which right now is pretty rare because I'm busy with a lot of other stuff. Next, I wanted to go over a project that I did several years ago. I know some of you guys have probably seen it on Facebook and Instagram, but this is my G.I. Joe Adventure Team Sea Knight dive suit. Excuse me. I made this out of an old Buzz Lightyear. I thought it would be cool to have a dive suit for my G.I. Joes. The claws are off of Shapeways. I just looked for robot claws and found them and retrofitted them to the body. I made my own decals. I painted this whole thing up from scratch. The back end, I did a cool scuba tank array. Kind of gave it a little bit of a vintage vibe. Put all that together. I cast the oxygen pieces out of resin using an old G.I. Joe scuba set. And then I have an old head that I cleaned up and then mounted it to the inside. And this is my G.I. Joe Sea Knight UES, stands for Underwater Exploration Suit. I've got a second one in the works, but I just haven't had time to make it. It's a superposable Buzz Lightyear, but this was one of my cooler projects that I've ever worked on. I think when I first put him out there on social media, people kind of made fun of it a little bit, but I think after a while they got the concept, and it's a great reuse of a toy that I thought from the beginning the Buzz Lightyear giant action figures were some of the better done action figures, around at the time. And they're still making the same ones today. I mean, there's some different variants and they've changed some tooling, but still a great action figure. It made a really good dive suit. I've toyed with selling this on eBay, but actually, since this is one of the first customs I ever did, it's kind of, it's got like a sentimental value to me. But like I said, I've got another one coming, and I'd like to get it done sometime in the near future. and share it with everybody. It'll be a completely different color. I don't even know what kind of vintage head I'm going to use in it. Last, I used I had parts left over from this, and I had a broken G.I. Joe underwater scuba sea sled. And I'm currently retrofitting the old Buzz Lightyear wings to this, and then I'm going to cast new handles and mount it on here and repaint it and make it look pretty cool, maybe add a decal on it. But that'll be for another time. I'm working on some scuba sets to sell at a later date using some old fabric I had from other custom projects. So it'll come with like some swim trunks, scuba tank, maybe a knife and some other parts. But I'm just going to sell them for pretty cheap on eBay just for people to go with some of their scuba sets. But that's way down the line whenever I make time. But anyways, that's currently what I got going on. I'm getting ready to actually make some more fuel drums. If you're familiar with the G.I. Joe fuel drums I've made in the past, I usually put those on eBay. They're pretty cool. And also, as you can see in the back here, I've got a whole stack of G.I. Joe map table bases that I'm getting ready to paint and put on eBay. These are just basically replacement bases for the G.I. Joe map table. So the map table just sits right on top of them. They're the right height, so they're a little taller than the old vintage cardboard ones. So G.I. Joe looks a little more to scale when he's, checking out his latest mission in the Adventure Team headquarters. So I got those coming with some additional fuel drums at some point. So be on the lookout for those if you guys are interested in buying a few of those. I sell them on eBay. Other than that, that's what I got going on. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm going to try to do some more videos. I'm going to actually do, my next one's going to be on the Cotswold Collectibles 3D printed gear from Sean Huckster. So I'm currently just putting together a list and getting everything organized to do that video here the next couple weeks. So hope you guys are having a good time. Super Bowl's tomorrow. Should be an exciting game. And have a good week, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.